Hello to each and every one of you. Welcome into the Aaron Saint Show podcast, daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. Excuse me, right here in the Impact Power Sports studio. That's right, Impact Power Sports. You can get a snowmobile there. I almost didn't say snowmobile. It's one of those words I can't say well for some reason. A new snowmobile at Impact Power Sports. Online at impactpowersportsmi.com. And boy, where we are, we sure are getting a lot of snow. They also sell golf carts if that's something that you're looking to purchase. ATVs, UTVs, side-by-sides, all that fun stuff. Three-wheelers, four-wheelers, two-wheelers, dirt bikes, go-karts. Oh, my gosh. Scooters. They have it all at Impact Power Sports. Thank you to them. I had been bragging about being on time for several days in a row, but that streak is now over because today the shit hit the fan, and 20 minutes late, no good. Now it isn't that I got into the weeds and didn't prepare myself. I'm always prepared, as you know. The problem was I noticed something about Bruce. And so now I'm freaking out, and I'm resisting the urge to call the vet because I'm trying to get through the whole month without a $1,000 vet bill. I think he's got an ear infection. I'm almost certain of it. So, but I am resisting the urge to call and get it checked. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm not 100% certain that the dog has an ear infection, but he's dipping his head, which is something he does when he has an ear infection. It's like he's kind of like trying to like shake it out, and he'll dip the head and he'll flip the head a little bit, and then he'll like scratch it. And then I took a peek in there, and it looks a little wonky. So I'm like, all right, well, he's been messing with it. Megan with the great question, do you have leftover drops from your last ear infection? Start using them. I don't think so. I do have a couple of tricks up my sleeve to offer him relief, and I did clean out the ears. And he did not like me for that. Stevie says, fuck it, let him suffer. Easy, probably. Now, you know better than that. I would never do that. Nick says Tractor Supply, $14. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't get this medicine over the counter like that. And that's like one of you was just saying you can't, you shouldn't be able to, you should be able to buy that stuff over the counter. Maureen said that. I wish we could buy antibiotics over the counter. Exactly. What the fuck? Alan says, yes, you can. All right, so I've got conflicting reports here as to what I can or cannot do. I'm not going to research it now, but Red Bull Brain Chris says tell him to sleep it off, inferring that I should tell the dog what I told Pooh Bear when she had the gallstone issue. And she said, I'm in horrible pain. Will you take me to the hospital? And I said, no, go sleep it off. I still feel badly about that. So I just changed the dog's food, and I think that might have something to do with it. But I don't know, man. That's what Becca Shea says. Tell him to go back to bed. Go to the cow or horse section at Tractor Supply. You can buy it over the counter. You'll just have to change the dosage, obviously. All right, I'm going to have to research that. There's got to be some type of info online that my vet does not want me to know about. Because my vet is not going to say to me, all right, you can save a lot of money if you just buy this at Tractor Supply, and then you give it this amount, because they want me, But I am not above that. I'm definitely going to research that. And a lot of the times, the advice I get on this show does help me. The advice and the suggestions. Alan says, that's what I do with my dog. He does not go to the vet. So you kind of like do DIY. Stand by. You do the DIY vet care. David says, Big Vet won't turn you to Tractor Supply. Blaine's Farm and Fleet has all that shit, too. We've got all these stores around here. This is Hudsonville. This is farming community. Red Bull Brain Chris says, how many Bruces does one horse weigh? Stand by, another sneeze. Oh, my gosh. Amy confirms, I have bought penicillin at Tractor Supply. It's for farmers and their livestock. All right. I am anxious to get to the bottom of this. And upon completion of this podcast, I will begin that process to take a look at it. Amy says to Red Bull Brain Chris, you are on fire today with your jokes with his most recent, how many Bruces does one horse weigh? Alan says, my dog gets what he needs. I just don't pay some asshole vet to do it. Yeah, I can't go that far and say that the vet is an asshole. Man Bun Chris says, next episode, shoot, it was 5 milligrams. I gave him 500. Now what? Megan says, Darla could probably lick out the infection. I think it has to be her idea, though, not yours. More dog news. Benny has this habit now, Benny the one-eyed wonder dog, that you don't often see, where, like last night, I got back from the Grand Rapids Gold basketball game. He wants to go outside. I let him right outside. He goes outside. It's cold as fuck. I'm assuming he goes to the bathroom, comes walking back in, and then I am on the opposite side of the island. But he starts running back and forth on the other side of the island throughout the kitchen. Back and forth, back and forth. And he's done that before, and what he does is while he's running, like poo will come flying out of him. Like he doesn't know where to go with it. He doesn't know where to poo. And so he does. It just becomes like a carpet bombing scenario, but on the hard floor. And he did that again. And the problem is the poo blends in beautifully with the floor, and you cannot see it. Now, O'Neal was there, and he started to help me clean it up, if you know what I mean. But I'm like, Benny, what the hell is going on here? He doesn't, like, go to the door and wait, and nor does he do it when he's out there. Because it was, like, probably 90 seconds after I let him in that he's pacing back and forth. And by the time I go, uh-oh, he's doing this behavior again, I think and I look down and I see it. I go, okay, there's one, camouflage perfectly. And then it's too much of a fiasco to be dealing with at 10 o'clock at night. You don't ever want to deal with that shit, let alone at 10 o'clock at night. Tyler says, when I first joined, I thought we were talking about the NFK needing eardrops from Tractor Supply. All right. I'll keep you updated on Bruce, but he's resting peacefully now, as they all are. You see, Bruce stopped eating this food that he was on. He was on this particular food for dogs that are allergic to everything, and it's suspected that Bruce has food allergies to, like, chicken, but he literally gave up on the food. He stopped eating. So, on a whim, I just gave him O'Neal's food, which he's had problems with in the past, but he ate it right up. I mean, he just devoured it, and now he's eating beautifully. But it's, now you have this issue, and it's probably some type of food allergy, which leads to the things like the itching, the scratching, and the ear infection. So I'm kind of fucked here. Not sure what to do. We have a lot to get to today. I want to get to this clip of basketball coach Tom Izzo, who we had that clip the other day of him dropping the F-bomb on TV. Now, this is an old school coach, and he's obviously not, they're young. They're 18, 19, 20, 21, but they're not children, so he can talk to them any way he wants. This one dude from Michigan State in last night's game was doing a poor job of defending, and the guy's name is Kur, K-U-R, Kur Teng. Now, check this out. This is him assessing Kur Teng's inability to defend. And this is what Tom Izzo says to Kur, and it's heard on TV.
Kur, you can't guard my mother. My mother.
Kur, you can't defend my mother. My mother.
Kur, you can't guard my mother. My mother.
This guy's great. He doesn't give a shit. And his players do very well with him. A reporter brought this moment up in the press conference about him saying, Kur, you could not guard my mother. My mother. And he's asked about it in the press conference last night.
It was at one point in the huddle you yelled at one.
Okay, so you can... Sorry. Again, I hate this. I hate how the reporters are never mic'd. But she's asking that, and if you're watching the video, you can see the captions. But he's just asking about, she is just asking about him saying that.
It was at one point in the huddle you yelled at one of your players that he couldn't guard your mother.
My mother's 99 and a half, too.
Did she have some game? That's what I was wondering.
No, that's the sad part. She doesn't have game, and he still couldn't guard her.
Well, the other thing I wondered is when you say something like that, crack a joke.
Oh, I was serious as a jaybird.
Are you hoping that it makes them kind of laugh and relax and play as they're capable, or if they laugh, do they get more trouble?
No, I'm the opposite. I'm hoping he's The word starts with a P, off. I'm hoping that it ticks him off, and maybe he'll play better angry, because some of it was unstomachable, and I haven't said that much this whole year. So yeah, so he has, we're all flying back to East Lansing. He's flying to Appleton. Check USA Today tomorrow. Him and my mom will be going at it in a nursing home in a gym, and we'll see how he does.
Holy shit. So this has to light a fire under that guy's ass. We're all going back to East Lansing, and he's flying to Appleton to take on my mother, who's 99 and a half years old. Yeah, wait. Yeah, when you say that, you make a joke like that. I am not joking. He could not guard my 99 and a half year old mother. That's one of my favorite things I have seen or heard in a long, long time. That type of verbal ass kicking of his own players, that makes me feel good about society, that still exists. Oh, my God. Rebecca says, this is amazing trash talk. Man Bun Chris says, this feels like Michael Scott in an office interview. LOL. Double down, triple down. LOL. I love it. Alan says, this is how all coaches should be. Maureen says, thank goodness. Oh, I already read that one. David says, if the kid is that bad, put him on the bench. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. No, don't. I want him to not be on the bench so that he can perform shitty, and then the coach can beat him up about it. Alan says, bring bullying back. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think it's bullying. A lot of times you got coaches who will dial into the idea, trying to get them to unite with the team so that the top adversary is the coach. It's kind of like the team taking on the coach. There have been numerous times where that's happened. Scotty Bowman, one of the greatest to ever coach, if not the greatest, was notorious for that. Herb Brooks. Herb Brooks did that as a coach. Tophus says bullying is harassing someone who can't fight back. This is inspiration. Exactly. Exactly. Herb Brooks was so good at that you had 18, 19, and 20-year-old students on the U.S. Olympic team in 1980. They hated that guy so much that they went out and beat the best team in the world, the Russians, the Soviets, who at the time, just before the Olympic tournament, had thrashed the NHL All-Stars. My God. Tophus adds, if that coach, Tom Izzo, didn't think the kid was any good, he'd be gone. He wouldn't be on the team. Man Bun Chris is here. Talking about basketball, says, how is the Gold coach, the Grand Rapids Gold? Any good stories? His behavior is exemplary. He does not use foul language, and he is probably the best behaved coach I've ever seen in my life. Ryan Bowen is his name. Very nice dude. I still get uncomfortable, though, when somebody's screaming at the officials. The officials are trained to shrug that off, though. The one thing that will get you a technical foul is swearing. You can say, sometimes you can get away with something like, that's fucking bullshit. But not often. If you use bad language with an official, that has a pretty high chance of getting a technical foul. If you call them a name or insult them directly, you 100% of the time are going to get a technical foul. If you go, come on, you'll probably not. But if you look enraged when you say it, you could. They will give you some wiggle room. Well done, Tom Izzo. So what's interesting about this is we will have our March Madness tournament coming up. And when the basketball thing, college basketball thing gets going, the Big Ten is amazing. Michigan is undefeated. I take it back. They've got one loss. Michigan State has 2 losses. Both teams are top 10 teams. Nebraska is undefeated. It's something else. But I like Tom Izzo just because of this shit right here. Speaking of which, a local coach is kind of, well, I shouldn't say a coach. The local high school, one of the local high school's athletic director and the head football coach are being accused of, and they found evidence of, player mistreatment, nepotism, and a lack of oversight in the rules. An investigation, and the school is known as Climax. Yeah, believe it or not, there's a community near here named Climax, which that's rough. You know, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit jokes in that, but it's true. The Climax Scots High School, their athletic director and their head football coach, Tyler Langs, found examples of player mistreatment, nepotism, and a lack of oversight in his roles, according to the school board. That's worded weird. So who's at fault there? An investigation of the athletic director and head football coach. Okay, so they're both being looked at as a problem. Now, when it says player mistreatment, I need to know what that means. Because I don't think you can, in high school sports, do like what Tom Izzo did. I think that might be a little bit of a different environment because the kids, are younger, and the younger they are, they're not as hardened, and you could break their spirit. Now, years ago, that's all they did. The football coach would just kick your ass. Coaching, especially at that level, has gotten away from that. That type of tough guy thing with the kids. Because that's like a perfect way to, like, if you say anything hurtful to them, that could come back to bite you in the ass. Megan agrees. She says that's not an option in youth sports, I'd say, including high school. Yeah. You don't want to do that. You want to be the type of coach who, like, you can be all business when it comes to teaching the sport and coaching the team and making decisions. You don't have to, like, be their best friend, but at the same time, you can't belittle them like Tom Izzo did. Like, if you were a basketball coach and you said, hey, Johnny, you can't guard my mother, that kid's going to break down in tears. All right? He's going to go, He's going to be sobbing, even though he's a big, strong kid, and he's going to go run out into traffic and throw himself in front of a bus. That happens every year. There are hundreds of kids in every community who, when the coach says, "You couldn't guard my mother," the kid will run out and throw himself off of a building or throw himself in front of a train or a bus. So that's a horrible move. Okay, now if Tom Izzo were coaching baseball and a kid couldn't hit the strike zone, he'd say, "Hey, you suck. My mom could throw harder than you, or my mom would be a better pitcher." You can do that. You don't want to do that if you're playing with youth sports. But the second they leave high school and they go to college, then you just assault them mentally. You say whatever you want. Bread Bull Brain Chris says, was anything inserted anywhere? Yeah, no, I don't think that this is like physical assault. But in high school athletics, you say anything, that's a problem. We all know this. And I think that that's what may have happened here. Stand by. It says in a letter posted to the community, talks about personnel issues. This process was triggered solely by multiple complaints from students and parents who were concerned about the conduct of Tyler Langs. I guess that's coach. We can verify that none of the issues brought to the attention involve the issue of playing time. Several of the student athletes who submitted complaints started and or played a great deal for their respective teams, and several complainants claimed that athletes who received the most playing time were treated poorly. Anonymous complaints. All I want to do is I just want to get to what was said and how it was said, but I don't think we're going to get that. But this guy, Kevin Langs, is now done. There's two of them. There's Tyler Langs and Kevin Langs. So that's where you get, like, the nepotism there, I guess. When they started to review this shit to find out what the problem was, Langs refused to meet with the investigator to discuss the allegations, which delayed the investigative process. And then a targeted set of specific questions, a snapshot of allegations from the report were sent to Langs. The letter said he submitted written responses on November 24th. They then did a lengthy investigation and a lengthy report, and suggested that in his role as football coach, Tyler has engaged in conduct and speech over a period at least 3 years that violates board policy 4201, has negatively impacted students, created a toxic environment, and cast aspersion on the district. The employment of Langs as coach, athletic director, and dean of students gives the appearance of nepotism, including favoritism, to the detriment of the district. All right, so this guy obviously has pissed somebody off. If you work in a school environment, the last thing you want to be is looked at as this type of problem, because that could be the end for you. And that appears to be what has gone on here. So I don't know. Maybe there's a spot for this guy to coach at the next level. I mean, honestly, if you've got a guy who's talking shit to student athletes in high school, there is no place for that. But Michigan State should think about bringing these guys on and signing them to a big contract. All right. I've got an update for you. During that national championship football game, there was a moment when Miami running back Mark Fletcher Jr., he punched one of the Indiana players, Tyreek Tucker. And it was weird because Fletcher socked the guy from Indiana, and then a short time later, he was talking with Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback, and there was a lot of love there. And I remember talking about yesterday, I was like, something's off with that. Something is not adding up. If you're a guy who gets pissed off and you slug one of their guys and then you're really sweet to another one, I think we're missing part of that story, and it turns out we absolutely were. So let's go back, and this is that moment when it all happens.
See it. Perhaps you at home have seen it afterwards.
By the way, Tucker is a lot bigger than Fletcher. But Fletcher here, the wires have crossed, and Tucker's backing away.
See it. Perhaps you at home.
Maybe because he's got his helmet off. I don't know.
Seen it afterwards. That's Mark Fletcher, who swung at an Indiana player, which obviously is Tyreek Tucker. See it.
We finally have some information here about that. It seems that Tyreek Tucker from Indiana made a crack about Fletcher's dead dad. They talked about this during the game, how he, it wasn't that long ago, maybe a year and a half ago, that Fletcher's dad had died. Yeah, it was last year. His dad died last year, and they were very, very close. So if Tyreek Tucker talk shit to Mark Fletcher Jr. about the guy's deceased dad, well, that's great that he did what he did. And fuck that guy, Tyreek Tucker. I mean, how horrible is that? Indiana wins a goddamn game. Leave it on the field. It was an excellent game. Indiana, they did a great job of paying their players in the last 2 years to get to this point. And then this asshole is talking about some guy's deceased father. By the way, I think we can stop, because I was listening, in fact, to Free Beer and Hot Wings, and they were making such a big deal about Indiana. Like, oh my God, this is incredible. They've never won. And it's like, this is not that big of a deal when you pay for the best fucking players. It just isn't. About the only interesting thing, I think, is the quarterback, Mendoza, who was not that highly rated. He just was a late bloomer. But, enough. Okay, great. A team that has never won before won because they started to pay their players. I hope that happens more. I hope that Northwestern wins a national championship next year. Tyler says maybe Tyreek Tucker pulled an Izzo and said you couldn't run by your dead dad. All right, so that's the update there. I also want to play this clip of Fernando Mendoza, the aforementioned Fernando Mendoza. There was a clip from the national championship postgame where he was talking to Scott Van Pelt. And because one of you said that he reminds you of Tim Tebow. This is very Jesus-y. Which, whatever, I don't care. So much so that he actually is mentored by Tim Tebow.
The opportunity to speak to a guy who's become a good friend through the years, Tim Tebow. And I know he, like you, is a man who leans into his faith. And he shared with me some of the conversations that...
That's a nice way of saying it, leans into his faith. He should just say he's super Jesus-y.
Yeah, with you, not specifics, but just about that belief and about not having regret. How much does being able to lean on a guy who's been in the arena just like you and done it help you to have the focus and the clarity to understand?
I don't know if I'm Mendoza, if I want to be compared to Tim Tebow, though, because if you have a lot in common with Tim Tebow, the one thing you don't want to have in common is his inability to be an NFL player, because he sucked.
And what might be asked of you tonight and then deliver.
Yeah, I called Mr. Tebow and a lot of my other mentors yesterday and early today because, Mr. Tebow, he played in 2 national championships. He has that experience.
You can call him Tim.
Yeah, Tim. All right.
Yeah, he's just spaz.
I talked to Tim, and he gave me great advice. And the big advice that I got from all my mentors is stay in the present moment.
Okay.
It's Miami. There's going to be a lot of emotion. Tim always said, it's going to be 3 hours, 12 drives, 4 quarters. Focus on each and every single drive. Don't get, all about the game. Okay, we got to score 30 points here. Just focus on the next play.
Right.
And I've had so many other mentors in my family that I've been able to instill myself, the stoic approach of being in the present moment. And
Yeah, I love that advice. I'm trying to think about where that guy can fit in the NFL, because that type of energy, that, it's just bursting at the seams. You'd really have to get the rest of the team to buy in, because somebody might not be that excited and they might want to kick his ass. Patrick says he looks like the actor that plays the Flash. Rich says, too bad he'll be playing for the Raiders next year. He'll be eaten alive. Tyler says, makes sense. Tebow was a fucking dope in his college days, too. What do you mean by that? You mean, what, like dumb? Tyler says he'll get drafted high, suck shit for his first couple years, and be a backup on 7 different teams his whole career. Yeah, I don't know about that. Tyler says he's just dorky and annoying. I think Mendoza is one of these student of the game types who does a lot of homework, and what he focuses on makes up for physical limitations. But I don't know that there are any. He runs well. He's big. He's tough. He throws it amazing. Tebow, I don't know how. That's always been a mystery to me, how a guy can be such a good college player and then a huge pile of shit in the pros. So good that he's the best college player in the land, the Heisman Trophy winner, Tim Tebow. And then he was terrible in the NFL. All right. All right, stay right there. Your old pal EZ has to go tinkle. But before I do that, I want to shout out to our audience members that are watching the show on Facebook, YouTube, and Kick. I'm going to send you on your way. You're not going to be able to see the rest of the show on those platforms. But if you want the rest of the show, you got to go to Twitch. That's where all my free content is, twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Follow the page, give yourself a username, and you can contribute on the chat once you subscribe. To subscribe, you can either link up your Amazon Prime account, or you can pay $5.99. Or don't, then you can't comment, but you'll get commercials. It used to be that everybody could chat, but one asshole, manipulative cocksucker decided to fuck that whole thing up. Anyway, there you go. Not only that, you can email me on the Shoreliner Striping inbox, eric@ericzaneshow.com. If you want my merch, go to ericzaneshow.com, click merch. Got a ton of T-shirt and hoodie designs there for you, including the latest, the Shoreliner Striping Defector gear. My Patreon is very active. That is separate from the free platform. And I put a ton of content up there every week, something new every day. This week we have a Big Fraud Thursday with Who Are These Free Beers on the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. That comes up tomorrow. Check out my Patreon for free. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. You get a 7-day free trial there. Thank you to the sponsors that help keep this show going. By the way, speaking of sponsors, the latest thing by Free Beer and Hot Wings audience members to fuck with me is going to my sponsors and trying to fuck with them. The good folks at Pinball Land, they put out a bit of information, and they wrote, hey, we're going to be closed on this day because of weather or something like that. Some asshole went on there and said, yeah, I've been to your place. I like it, but I won't go anymore because you support the Eric Zane Show. And so then I was like, God damn it. So then I wrote underneath it to Ryan over at Pinball Land, ignore this dope. This is another one of these sick fuck Free Beer and Hot Wings Show goddamn fat fuck man-boobed asshole audience members who is trying to make my life difficult. Fuck them. Nick says, I just got my Defector hoodie today. Hey, how does it look? How does it look? Bread Bull Brain Chris says, Stalkerito commented on Ben's latest post promoting the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. Yeah, he's been doing that lately. That's another asshole. By the way, I will fight any of the former Zaniacs in celebrity boxing. Okay? You can have them all line up, and I will fight them. All of them. The Ben Glaze, who doesn't have a mean bone in his body, said he actually was forced to block Pellerito. If you get Ben Glaze to block you, you're really fucked up because he's like the nicest guy on the fucking planet. Nick says, would you like a pic texted to you of how the hoodie looks? I would love that. I just want to see how they look. I haven't actually gotten my hands on one. Thank you. Bread Bull Brain Chris says, except sexy voice Andrea, she'd kick your ass. There's no fucking way that fat ass could kick my ass. I would wipe the floor with that fat bitch. All right. So always keep that in the back of your mind. I will fight any former Zaniac. Complete celebrity boxing event, all in one night. Okay. Meanwhile, where was I? Thank you, TC Paintball. How about these guys? What an unbelievable sponsor. They've been with me for so long. Thank you, TC Paintball. If you want some paintball fun, what a great thing to do to get out of the house when you got the winter blues. Play indoors at TC Paintball. They're in the middle of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Their website is tcpaintballgr.com. Now, what's awesome about it is you get your group together, you get in there, you pay your money, you get the paint, you get the gun, you get the mask, you can get more paint, you can buy the protective gear or rent the protective gear if you want. It's up to you, or you can buy it. Fuck, they got everything. Fantastic pro shop there. Everything you could ever want with paintball. You can even say, hey, I think I want to buy that gun. Can I try it out? You can try it out. You can test drive your paint machinery, your paint weaponry at TC Paintball, Michigan's premier paintball destination, online at tcpaintballgr.com. EZ's buyback program for his own cars continues. I'll be buying back the Civic from Jackie, which is being repaired right now at Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV. ervines.com. Jackie's driving a loaner car right now from our friends at Irvine's. And I tell you what, any vehicle can be repaired. Any hybrid, any EV can be repaired at Irvine's. ervines.com. That's ervines.com. The authority on car repairs in Grand Rapids. When the dealers can't fix it because their techs don't have the same level of expertise as Irvine's. They call Irvine's, particularly for the hybrids and EVs. Like, we don't know what the fuck to do with this. Yep, all right, bring it over. So that happens all the time. That's how good they are at Irvine's. 616-532-6600. That's 616-532-6600. Man Bun Chris says, don't forget you have to go potty. Hashtag ADHD. That's true. Cole says, what car are you going to buy her next? Oh, no, I'm not. That's it. Any of you who think that when your daughter or son leaves the house that you just turn off the funding like a spigot is not true. That does not work. And if you don't want them to wipe your ass, go ahead and do that, like when you get older. You have to gradually let them out of the nest. This is when they're fledging, you know? Like right now, even though Jackie's been married for years and she's going to be 29 years old in April, this dynamic still exists with what I'm telling you about right now, as O'Neill is in a hilarious position right now that does not look comfortable. Madison, similarly, she'll be 24 in August. Alan says, did you say spigot? I'm pretty sure I said that correctly. Like you're turning off the faucet. That's a spigot. SPH. Am I pronouncing that wrong? Yeah, I think I am. It's SPIG. A spigot. That's embarrassing. I've been saying it wrong my entire life. I've noticed that every time I've said that over the years, people have looked at me funny. Man Bun Chris says, LOL, what? Bread Bull Brain Chris says, hard P spigot. I'll be 56 in July, and for 56 years, I thought that was pronounced spigot. Not only is it not pronounced that way, it's not spelled that way. It's not even like SPH with a hard P for some weird reason in the English language. Scott says, you're special. I feel like kind of a fucking idiot right now. Thank you, Alan, for focusing on this moment so we could have a good laugh at my own expense. Patrick says that's something Free Beer would do. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. But the good thing is I learned. Like, I won't make that mistake again. So that's not like Free Beer. Like, if you told me, EZ, like you did, you're saying spigot wrong, I would go, oh, fuck. And then I wouldn't say it like that again. But if I'm Free Beer and I said usually, yeah, usually I take a P sometime during the show. And you said, no, that word is usually. I would go, usually. Yeah, I'm saying usually. I'm saying what you're saying, usually. Bread Bull Brain Chris says, I keep hearing Free Beer overemphasizing the L in the word folks. Yeah. FOLKS is pronounced like FOKES. FOLKS, you don't pronounce the L. It's folks. He goes folks. Kind of like when he sees something, he pronounces it. Like the L in yolk. An egg yolk. Yolk. The yolk. Or the folks. He does that all the fucking time. He's a goddamn idiot. Folks rhymes with pokes. You do not pronounce the L and folks, you stupid cocksucking asshole. God, lately I've been praying really hard every night before I fall asleep that I can wake up and post the dancing pallbearers. I think there's something wrong with me. I think I've gotten in too deep on this. I can't be like going to bed and saying, "Baby Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the blessings." And as I lay my head down to sleep, I am praying to be able to post dancing pallbearers tomorrow. I don't think that that's great for my mental health to be hoping and praying that I can post the dancing pallbearers. I think that's a me problem there. Tyler says when Easy heard about the 100-car pileup, he was hoping that free beer was involved. I can tell you where I was when I thought about it, and that it actually made me giddy. But then I realized that only 9 people were hurt with no fatalities, and I was massively disappointed. So what you just said there is true. I was snow plowing, and I was right by my mailbox in the road when I thought of it. And for a second, my heart leapt, and then I went, "Oh, fuck!" All right. Did I read the one that Chris wrote? I don't think baby Jesus appreciates those prayers. Oh, I can guarantee you he doesn't. He's like, "Oh, there's Eric. He's praying again. That's nice." Okay, yeah, okay. You're welcome for that. You're welcome for that. You're welcome for the blessings. You're welcome for all you. Oh, wait a minute. Did you just pray that you'll be able to post dancing pallbearers on Facebook? You fuck. Now, I am unabashedly, unapologetically focused to a point where it occupies too many of my thoughts on posting dancing pallbearers some point in time. If you see the dancing pallbearers, we all know what's going on. I won't comment, but you will see dancing pallbearers. For those of you who don't know what it is, look it up. Look up dancing pallbearers. All right. There's a lot more where that came from, but I haven't yet gotten rid of the audience on Facebook. Yeah, I did.